All right, now they eat really fast. You guys ready?
Like a dog, but it's big.
So they gulp that fish down kind of in one bite. It kind of slurps up down like spaghetti, and that's because these guys, despite being carnivores, they don't actually have teeth. So unlike a normal carnivore, they can't like shred stuff up, so they have to gulp it down.
Do frogs have teeth?
Swallow it whole, everything, yeah. All right, let's do him. So we've had amphibians here for at least 12 years because that's about how old Godzilla is. He was part of the first generation. We used to have a whole bunch of axolotls here. We actually used to breed them, and then we would give out, new babies to schools and other educational organizations. But that is a lot of work because they lay hundreds and hundreds of eggs at a time. So now we just keep a handful just to kind of teach people and talk to them about animals. We've had Godzilla for 12 years. Red is about 7 or 8. Not a snake. Again, we got him kind of on accident. He's from the wild. Oh, there you go. Now he's eating this really fully. We think he's about 7 or 8 years old, but we've had him for about 5. He actually showed up right before I did. Frogs are about 6 or 7 as well. And Tribble, who was Godzilla's daughter, was actually born here. She's about 8. And when kept healthy in captivity, these guys can all live to be, 10 to 15 years, depending on their color type, depending on how many mutations they have. So we hope to have these guys for quite a while longer. Amphibians and all salamanders start off, aquatic, like tadpole stage kind of. But unlike most things that are aquatic, their gills are on the outside. Most salamanders go through kind of a metamorphosis, a change, just like tadpoles do when they become frogs, their tails fall off. Similar thing happens with these guys, but instead of the tails falling off, their gills fall off when they move on to land. But axolotls and the siren are 2 of the unique species of salamander that never do that. They're like permanent teenagers. They just stay underwater their whole lives. It kind of just looks like they're slapping themselves. Forget you.
It's fast.
Yeah, so he gulps stuff down the fastest. He also doesn't have teeth or anything, so he swallows everything whole. But unlike the rest of the animals, which are ambush predators, he actually actively, roots around and hunts for stuff. So when he finds something, he really has to be able to grab it. So he just kind of inhales things. He's also kind of spoiled. So he likes, the worms are his least favorite. He likes them, but he knows there's fish coming. See if he'll eat us really quickly today. These are like his little potato chips. These, no problem with these. He is the only one that we can't feed pellets to because he was actually born in the wild. All these other guys were bred in captivity, so they've, had pellets and processed food their whole lives. He kind of showed up here on accident. So these guys live in Missouri and several surrounding states. And they live in like swamps and muddy water, and when they're home, when the water dries up, they'll actually burrow in the mud and they'll secrete a bunch of mucus and make like kind of a cocoon. And then when the water fills back up, they'll come out and they'll start swimming around again. Well, he made a cocoon in I think a rice field somewhere in southwest Missouri. And we got a shipment of dirt for the garden out back to grow, and his little cocoon was in there. And because he had traveled so far, we weren't allowed to take him back and put him back where he was supposed to be. You risk contamination and things like that. But luckily he landed here and not somewhere else, because we were able to just set up a tank, and now he lives the pampered life here in Life Science.
His name is not a snake?
He is a boy. We just learned that this past year, despite having him for a long time, because he just got big enough that we could tell. Basically, if you look at this top of his forehead, there's kind of those bulbous bumps. It's really the only way to tell on a siren is those masseter muscles on the top of the head get really swollen if they're male.
Oh.
But only when they reach a certain size. So for a long time, he was very small and you couldn't tell.
Is this Godzilla?
Yes.